Hey everybody, what's going on? Hellmite here, bringing another video from Grab the Lantern today. Today I wanted to talk about monetization as far as it relates to League of Legends, and what things I think Riot can add to League that they can be selling to us, the player base. Now, obviously, Riot makes money hand over fist already from their current cosmetic options and from selling champions. That's sort of no secret, and honestly, they make so much money that they probably don't need any extra choices, so to speak. Skins do very, very well for them. However, I think that there are a couple of reasons why I think Riot should be looking at other options. The first of which is that I think that they're leaving a lot of money on the table as far as cosmetics go. I think there are a ton of things that they could be selling that they are not, and that's just leaving money on the table. That's saying we don't actually want that money of yours that you have that you would be giving to us if we were to sell this particular product, and so instead you get to keep it. I think there's a ton of things that they could be doing, that they could be selling, that would make them even more money that they're just not doing for, admittedly, sometimes good reasons, but sometimes for like zero reason, and I wonder why they haven't bothered to figure this out. The other reason is I think that skins are a very potent way in which they make money, but I also don't think skins are going to be the be-all, end-all forever. I do think that they have sort of a finite growth potential as every champion of the game racks up skin catalogs into the 10s and 20s potentially, and especially with the increased rate at which Riot makes legendary, ultimate, and mythic skins, there becomes less of an incentive to buy cheaper skins from that point on. Why would I buy another Ahri skin if it's not legendary, right? If I already own Spirit Blossom Ahri, why would I buy another Ahri skin? If I already own Pulsefire Ezreal, why would I buy another Ezreal skin? These are just examples, of course, your mileage may vary, but I find myself finding the same exact process where I say, why would I buy the new Mordekaiser skin when I have Project Mordekaiser and it's the best skin he's ever going to get? That sort of thing, I think, will restrict the ability for Riot to continue selling skins at the same rate that they are. I also think that crafting is going to hurt them as well. The longer crafting is around, the more opportunity players have to get the skins that they want without having to pay, and then why would I spend any more money on the game? And as a result, I think that Riot will want more avenues of monetization as far as League of Legends goes. I know that there are other things they do besides skins, but let's be honest, I don't know anyone who actually spends money on emotes or icons, especially since Riot tend to give them away like party favors whenever there happens to be a big event or with each TFT pass, so it feels like you don't have to spend money on either of those two. And ward skins are distinctly fine, but they're not the kind of thing that at the very least I would spend any money on personally. Maybe there are some other players that feel differently out there. All the support mains out there in my audience, maybe you guys are buying ward skins, but not a particular fan of them, and I wonder if there are better things that Riot could be selling instead. So with that sort of lengthy preamble aside, I've come up with 5 things that I think Riot could attempt to be selling in League of Legends and why I think they're a good idea. The first of these is baubles. For those of you who play Wild Rift, you probably already know what I'm talking about, but for those of you who don't play Wild Rift, baubles are a cosmetic item that essentially is an extra way to teabag your opponents. When you move near an enemy champion that you recently scored a takedown on next to their body, and you're out of combat, your champion will drop their bauble on top of their corpse, as sort of a way to say, yeah, I totally got you. For those of you who are about to say, well, that's just BM, why would we do that? Why would Riot add that to the game? For me, I feel like it's not any more BM than the things that already exist in League of Legends. Emote spamming, or animation spamming on certain champions, or going into chat and flaming them verbally, right? There are a ton of ways to already BM, and I feel like baubles are one of the least offensive ways to do it. Walk over someone's body, a small little tiny item drops, and you walk away. There's nothing else to indicate it. There's no chat pop-out that says, oh, you got baubled, right? It just kind of is there. And as a result, I wonder if it's not something that Riot could potentially sell as another way to make money. I think that baubles, especially if they match your champion, are the kind of thing that some people would be interested in. For example, being able to use a Ruination Ward while playing Viego, while using the Ruin King crown bauble, while using a Ruin King Ward skin, right? Stuff like that. I could totally see players getting into it and trying to match everything. I do think it's a very small thing, so Riot wouldn't be able to sell it for very much, but I wonder if it's worth trying to introduce, given that it seems to be doing very well in Wild Rift for them. Next up, I think that Riot could be selling voiceover packs. This is one of my most favorite things, and it boggles my mind that Riot have not actually done this yet, because I think it's one of those huge things that players would really, really enjoy. For those of you who aren't aware, we've had voiceover packs in the past where the default voiceover, or the default announcer, the lady who says double kill and welcome to Summoner's Rift and enemy pentakill, those sorts of things, is replaced by someone else. We've had a Gangplank announcer pack, we've had a Freak and Kobe announcer pack, we've had a Kane and Rost announcer pack, and these are all just hilarious and great fun whenever they come out. I think they not only help an event feel more exciting, but I also think that they just introduce things and they let you think about the game in a different way. It's one of those things that you probably by this point have been playing League as long as I have, so just sort of tune out the announcer, and having an announcer pack helps refresh that experience and helps you pay attention to the things that the announcer is saying and make it a little bit more fun than just the generic reading of enemy double kill. I absolutely think as well that Riot could be using this as an opportunity to do community outreach by having current pros, old pros, community creators, and current casters do their own announcer packs in a similar fashion to how Blizzard does StarCraft 2. For example, being able to buy an announcer pack of I'm a Cutie Pie, or being able to buy an announcer pack for Cassante. When he comes out, they just have the voice actor record more voice lines for the announcer pack, and then they can sell that alongside Cassante's release. For those of you who are about to argue that this is a technological issue, it's not. Riot have actually added a toggle during these events where there has been an alternate announcer, allowing you to get back to the default Summoner's Rift announcer if you so desire, if the newer one grates on you. So the technology is already there. Riot would just have to have the backend to support people purchasing the announcer packs, and then naturally they'd have to record a bunch of announcer packs. I don't see a reason why they couldn't be doing this or why they haven't done this yet, and I absolutely think this is one of the places where Riot is leaving money on the table, so I'd love to see them try to bring this out. Next up is a HUD skin. Now, for those of you who aren't clear on exactly what I'm talking about here, the HUD is everything on your interface that shows you information about the game. The minimap, the little bar that displays your health and mana, your ability icons and cooldowns, your champion portrait, your stats, the icons for all your teammates, even the bar in the upper right that shows the game timer and your CS and the team's KDAs. All of those are in your HUD, and while these are mostly functional, there are elements of stylization on these. Even if you look at the replay pack right now that I'm in, you can see what I'm sort of talking about. The HUDs at the top can be changed, and these are even things that we see in for streamers or at LCS level or LEC level, where there are custom HUDs created by the content creators to flavor the HUD in a little bit of a different way and to make it look fancy or unique to them, or to have the aesthetic that they want it to, as opposed to the default HUD that Riot currently have. I imagine that they could certainly sell these sort of HUD packs as a way to spruce up your own game and to spruce up the experience that you have, to look at something a little bit different from the sort of boring, generic League of Legends green and gold that we've been seeing for years now. I especially think that you could sell a lot of these HUD packs by stylizing them in the vein of factions in League of Legends. For example, doing the blue or the gold and white of Demacia in your HUD and sort of stylizing it in the way of Demacian architecture, or having a big black iron and stone HUD that sort of is reminiscent of Noxus. Or if you really want to get into it, doing a project HUD that even replaces things like your health and mana with like computer progress bars and replacing the fonts on certain things. Or if you have a demonic HUD that replaces your cooldown timer with like demon runes that slowly count down. Naturally, that would have to be toggleable, but the possibilities I think are endless for this, and I think a lot of players would get really into it. I'm already into it, and I would love to see if Riot could do something like that in the future and just sort of change up how the sort of basic HUD looks for players in general. Next up, I think Riot could be selling minion and structure skins. They've actually had these in the past for things like the pool party event or the arcade event, where they've replaced the minions and structures on the map with slightly different versions of themselves. So making the towers and the minions look very blocky and arcadey and giving them slightly different animations or sound effects to indicate that they're from an arcade game. When towers are destroyed, for example, having a big sort of arcadey explosion sequence where a bunch of old 80s starbursts appear on the tower as it explodes. That kind of a thing I thought was really cool, and it was a good way for Riot to help flavor their different events. So even though there wasn't a game mode or there weren't anything else that they were sort of doing to indicate that there was an event going on, at the very least being able to say, hey, the minions look different, the towers look different, you can still kind of get into it. I think this would be a very fair thing for people to want. Again, for those of you who are about to argue technological issues, Riot had a toggle for this as well. It did break some things for some players when they toggled it off, but suffice to say the technology was still there, and Riot could very easily sell this. Now, for those of you who are about to say Riot should do full map skins, I'm going to talk about that in a second, and I think that there are some issues with doing map skins, but I think that minions and structures are very easy to skin. I think they're a good way, again, to add customization. You can even say they only are flavored for your team. Maybe you can even see enemy towers. For example, if I go top lane, it's only my top lane towers that are flavored in the particular pack that I bought. And maybe my enemy, the enemy top laner has a different sort of tower pack that's flavored their towers in a particular particular way, I think it would be a kind of fun way to help change the game and to change the map that we play on in an interesting way. Finally, I want to talk about map skins. Now, this is the one that almost always comes up whenever people talk about customization or Riot not selling us things that we really want to buy. The Winter Summoner's Rift, for example, comes back every now and again, and people really, really love it. They go ecstatic for the Winter's Rift, myself included, and one of the things that people have talked about is doing more of these, but as a paid content. I'm sure you guys have even seen people on their own going out and creating custom Summoner's Rift skins to make it look like a Star Guardian universe or a Project universe, and even flavoring the map minions, things like Baron Nashor or Gromp or whatever, in the sort of style of whatever universe they're trying to do. These are insanely popular and get a lot of traction, and people sort of ask, why hasn't Riot done this? And admittedly, I am totally down for this. I would love it if Riot did more of these kinds of changes. That said, I think that there are a lot of technological issues with this in particular. First, Summoner's Rift is hand-painted. Riot spent a lot of time and energy to spruce it up from what it used to look like when the game launched, and as a result, it would take a lot of time and energy and money for Riot to create more map skins if they had the exact same process. And as a result, that sort of leads to some difficulties with actually doing this sort of content. If we only got one map skin per year, for example, well, that's not exactly going to be a blistering rate of content, and people will probably not buy all of them. Or, for example, if you're only able to do one per year, but it costs you a ton of money to do, you might have to sell it at a price point that's just unsustainable. If you say, for example, this costs 10,000 RP to buy this map skin, well, people are not going to actually pay that price, even if that's what you have to sell it at in order to recoup your costs. The other issue, of course, is the current changeable state of Summoner's Rift. The Elemental Rift has actually caused a lot of issues for Riot. They were able to get it to work for default Summoner's Rift, but they haven't been able to get it to work for Winter Rift. The Elemental Rift actually broke Winter Rift in a lot of different ways, and that's why it hasn't come back in such a long time, because it's literally broken right now. They can't turn it back on because of the way Elemental Rift changes the map in general. And as a result, I feel like though we really want map packs, there are a lot of issues with how Riot currently do their maps that prevents them from being able to sell them, or prevents you from being able to swap between them at a moment's notice. That's why I suggested the minions and structure skins in particular, because I think that's a very low-cost solution that gets you most of the way there. But certainly if Riot are able to find a way to fix those problems, map packs would absolutely sell. I think that that would probably be one of the biggest selling items that Riot could put out. I just think that they need to figure out the technology for it first. And that's going to be it for me today, guys. Those are the things that I think Riot could be trying to sell. Though, of course, if there's anything else that they could be selling that you guys think of, let me know down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about what other cosmetic content you'd like to see in League of Legends. If you enjoyed the video today, go ahead and leave it a like. And if you really enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. I upload a video every Monday, Friday, and on patch days as well. Once again, thank you guys so very much for watching. I do appreciate it. And I'll talk to you all later.